Okay, let's go ahead and get started. It looks like we have about 30 participants and hopefully some more will join us. I'm going to introduce the moderators and then we'll get right into it. My name is Daniel Fitzmyer. I'm a professor at Northwestern University and I've taught there for the last 13 years in the School of Communication. I'm the director of the debate team there, and periodically over my life, I've been called on to host these sorts of events, and I'm always happy to do so to help you all really in your mission of trying to make a positive impact on your community. Eric Odo is going to join me tonight, and Eric, why don't you introduce yourself real quick?
Hey everybody, my name is Eric Odo, and I'm the head debate coach at Niles West High School. It's my 11th year coaching and teaching at Niles West. I'm a big fan of Lincolnwood. I don't live there, but I've had numerous students come through the debate team and at Niles West, and I've just been so impressed by all of them. Lincolnwood is a great village and just has tremendous amount of potential, being right next to Chicago and a great place for people to live. And so I'm always down to help out Lincolnwood whenever I can. So I'm really looking forward to tonight.
I'm going to just briefly explain the format and the rules such as they are. We're going to keep this fairly informal and relaxed, and the moderator's role will hopefully be very inobtrusive because we want to give the candidates the floor and make sure that they have plenty of time to articulate their ideas. We'll start with a up to 4-minute presentation by each of the candidates, who will introduce themselves and explain what they have planned and what their ideas are for taking Lincolnwood into the future. And we'll do that in the order of Jaisal, Jean, Grace, and Salim. Once we're done with that section, we're going to give the candidates 2 minutes each in each of 3 different areas that are important for the community. We've determined this based on questions that were sent in to Eric and I, and with some additional research by ourselves. And the 3 main areas will be questions of economics, budget, development is one of them, COVID and how to emerge from the post-COVID into the post-COVID world, and village community relations, and all that entails from diversity and to transparency in local government. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started with some introductions. Jaisal, would you like to start for up to 4 minutes?
Sure. First off, I'd like to say thanks to Daniel and Eric for moderating. It's a wonderful effort you guys are taking. Thank you for your help. To everybody attending tonight, thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to present ourselves to you. My name is Jaisal Patel. I'm running for mayor here in the village of Lincolnwood. Service to our community has become my passion during the 14 years that I've served as a trustee here in Lincolnwood. I love Lincolnwood, and I'm proud to have called it my home since I was just 4 years old. My children and I attended the same schools and played in the same parks. My oldest and I even shared a teacher at Lincoln Hall, our teacher, Mr. McCrimmon, who just retired a couple years ago. I have more than 25 years of local business experience as a real estate developer and broker, manufacturer, a retailer, a hotelier, an employer, and of course, as a taxpayer, as all of us are. Virtually all of my business experience includes working with local government in a variety of ways. That business experience, combined with my service as a trustee and another 15 combined years of advocacy and business at the state and federal levels, makes me the best candidate to lead Lincolnwood into the future. I've demonstrated my leadership skills throughout my tenure as a trustee and have proven my ability to solve problems and build consensus. My colleagues on the village board, including Mayors Terry and Bass, have trusted me to negotiate on behalf of the village for investments, developments, contracts, and many other matters of great importance to Lincolnwood. My experience, knowledge, and commitment to serving my community make me an ideal candidate for mayor. Of course, COVID is on the minds of all of us and is the problem that faces us. Aside from COVID and what we must do to deal with it, the pinnacle of our candidacy here as an alliance party is going to be to create a service-first organization. What I mean by service-first organization is one where the customer experience, whether it be the resident obtaining a permit, a developer looking to create a new business, or merely someone voicing their opinion at the village board, is met with courtesy, with dignity, and with excellence. And that service first organization motto will filter through the entire village, will help us on our development efforts and to move forward into the future. Thank you very much for your time, and I look forward to this evening.
Okay, our next speaker will be Jean. Jean, you have up to 4 minutes to introduce yourself and your ideas about taking Lincolnwood forward.
Thank you very much. My name is Jean Ikazoy Halevi. I'm a 30-year resident of Lincolnwood. My husband and I moved here with our small son from East Rogers Park because we were looking for a better school system. At that point, the schools in the Chicago area were quite horrible, and we knew we made the right decision when we moved here, simply because when we learned about what was going on in one of the schools that my son might have gone to, they were so overcrowded, they were teaching children in the bathroom. So that was not something we wanted. And coming to Lincolnwood was one of the best moves that we ever made. My background in Lincolnwood has taken me across the last 24 years. I responded to an ad in 1997 from Mayor Madeline Grant that was asking for people who wanted to join the newly created Human Relations Commission. And I applied, I joined, and I served there for 14 years. After that, I was on the Zoning Board of Appeals for several years before being elected trustee. And I was elected in 2017, and I'm hoping to be reelected on April 6th. A little bit more about me. I was born in Chicago. I grew up 2 blocks from Wrigley Field. And I got my master's degree from the Medill School of Journalism at Northwestern. And I'm always used to asking the questions, not being asked questions. So being a trustee has been a real change. But as Jazel had pointed out, one of the things that we're going for is customer service. We want to be able to serve all our residents and all the business people, and show our leadership from the top down that it's important to have good relationships with people. And that when you have good relationships, then that's going to allow our village to grow, not only resident to resident, but to increase businesses, which will increase our tax base, which is really important. And that's going to help us because COVID has done a horrible number to our village and every other part of the United States. And we have to recover from that, not only from our residents recovering, but also our businesses recovering. And that's going to be really important to us. And also, I know people are asking about the Purple Hotel. We're still waiting for that to move along. We've done everything that we can. And now it's the turn of the developers. So I pass there every day. It's an eyesore and we want it to move forward. And one of the things I really want is to have a grocery store. And that's in the planning on the Purple Hotel site, because the most money that anybody spends other than their mortgage is for groceries for their family. And it's important to have something in Lincolnwood where you can go in just a few minutes. I'm tired of spending my money in Evanston and going to Niles. I love those communities, but I want our money to stay here. And it's really important for to have our money here and to grow. And I think that's just about all I'm going to say for the moment. And I think I'd like to turn this over right now to Grace Diaz Herrera.
Grace, you have up to 4 minutes to introduce yourself and your ideas.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. And thank you as well, Dan and Eric, for hosting tonight, and everyone watching for taking that time to meet us today. So I would like to introduce myself. I'm a 45-year resident here, and it is my first time running for an elected position, but I'm very excited. I grew up in Lincolnwood, and just like many of you, Lincolnwood is very special to me. I attended District 74 from preschool through 8th grade. I'm a product of Lincolnwood camps and programs here, and I graduated from Niles West in 1990. When my father died, I was in 1st grade, 3 years after my parents moved here. And I remember the teachers, our neighbors, and the community really reaching out. And my mother was a young mother and an immigrant, and she definitely did not expect the support that we received. And it was the first time I really felt, community and knowing your neighbors. And we didn't have a lot of family at the time living around us, but we learned how to really depend on our community and our neighbors, and vice versa. A very small town feels, which Lincolnwood still does have. And I do feel it has shaped my life as it is today. I graduated from DePaul University with the degree in economics and a minor in political science, and later received my MBA from Keller Graduate School. I'm a full-time realtor and a CrossFit trainer. Prior to that, I was a litigation paralegal for staff counsels for insurance companies such as Liberty Mutual and Cigna Insurance. And right after college, I worked for the trust division of Bank of America and as a portfolio accountant for a smaller investment management firm. My husband and I decided to raise our 3 children here for many of the same reasons as many of you out there, and also my fellow Slate candidates here. We have an excellent school system with amazing teachers and administration. Our location being next to Chicago, with the city's vibrancy, and yet again, still experiencing the small town feels of Lincolnwood. The diversity has changed tremendously through the years, especially since I was growing up here in the 70s. But I am very proud of it. I'm proud to be a part of it and to have witnessed it. And of course, our Lincolnwood amenities. We can't be beat with our 13 parks and 2.5 miles of land here in Lincolnwood. And we've got the trails that keeps everybody active and moving, even through COVID. And our aquatic center on our biggest park of Prosel Park. And I'm lucky to have been a part of that, because I am currently serving my 6th year for the Board of Parks and Recreation here in Lincolnwood. And it has really been a pleasure working with our staff and our director, and of course, my fellow commissioners and chairperson. It really has familiarized me with the protocol and structure of municipal government. And I have learned to really grow as a leader and being a teammate for collaborating and making decisions and working cohesively together to make decisions. And it's very important to be able to work together. We may not all have the same ideas and opinions, but in the end, we're working for the same reason. Our goal is to find solutions for our families and our community and our local businesses. My husband and I have really enjoyed giving back and volunteering here in Lincolnwood. We volunteered for our programs here. We've both coached baseball and softball for many years, room parents for our school district 74, sharing our experience and expertise in wellness and fitness as we participate in wellness days annually at Rutledge and Lincoln Hall. We participate and enjoy our Lincolnwood sponsored events. We patronize and we indulge in our local restaurants and our local businesses. So through the years—
That's about time, Grace.
Okay, thank you very much.
Your last thought.
I do want to help Lincolnwood grow and advance, and we have a lot of issues that are coming up and some issues that'll take a few years, but I am looking for Lincolnwood to thrive and continue to thrive through these changes to our market, our health, our needs, and our concerns. And I'm looking forward to speaking more tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Grace. Our 4th candidate who will speak now is Salim. Please introduce yourself, and you have up to 4 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you, Eric and Dan, for giving us this opportunity to present ourselves. And thank you, whoever is attending this webinar, or for attending and listening to us and getting to know us better. My name is Mohammed Salim. I moved into Lincolnwood about 7 years ago with my family. My kids are a graduate of Lincolnwood school system. Especially my little one, my older 2 went to Niles West. A little bit about me. I'm an engineer by education. By profession, I'm a licensed engineer. I work in Illinois as well as surrounding states. I have a small business doing engineering work for various municipalities and state agencies. So that kind of, most of my time is spent in working with local government and the state and the city government. So that's where my specialty is, working with them. Like I said, I'm 13 years in business right now. I have over 100 employees working with various states. It's the reason, like everyone said, we moved into Lincolnwood because of the school system. Yes, that's one reason we moved into Lincolnwood, because of the school system. But at the same time, I can tell you this, the diverse community in Lincolnwood, that also appealed to us when we moved into Lincolnwood. So this was good for my family. When we moved in, the openness of everybody who welcomed us, that was amazing. And that helps me that kind of tells me that I made a great choice by coming into Lincolnwood. I would like to maintain that going forward, improve the diversity side of the Lincolnwood community, as well as help out in whatever way I can. I landed into this country about 27 years ago on St. Patrick's Day. Since then, I chased my American dream. So it started as a rodman on a survey crew. I grew to be a business owner in 27 years. I'm thankful for all the opportunities that was given to me in this country, and I would like to give something back to the community, something back to the people who worked with me, something back to my neighbors, something back everyone who welcomed me. That's why I'm trying to get, I'm getting into public service right now. It's a way to give something back. I want to take this opportunity here. This is, I'm new to politics, as you can see, and I'm having a hard time due to this format. So my only goal here is to provide service to all the whole of Lincolnwood here. And like Jason said in his opening statement, we want to become a service-first organization here. I firmly believe in that vision, what Jason has, as well as improve the infrastructure of the village here. As you know, if we watch the village board meetings or committee of the whole meetings, you can see we have up to $50 million worth of work coming in village of Lincolnwood that involves roads and sewer and water type work. That is, being an engineer, that's my specialty. I would like to participate in that process and help the village make some good decisions with respect to those projects. And on the other side, I want to take this opportunity to say this. My profession is building roads and bridges. That's where I specialize in. All my work right now, it involves building roads and bridges. And when I'm coming into this public service, coming into Lincolnwood, I would like to build roads and bridges among people. That is what I would like to do. There's no better thing than that. And that would be my mission, and that would be my purpose of working for Lincolnwood here as a trustee.
Thank you, Salim. That's about time. And I've been told that we have one additional candidate. Sanita, would you like to introduce yourself and your ideas for up to 4 minutes? I believe you are muted.
Can you hear me now? Hello? Thanks everyone for giving me this opportunity to introduce myself and my village of Lincolnwood. My name is Dr. Sanhita Agnihotri, and I've been living in Lincolnwood for almost 28 years. And when I moved to America from India, we landed in Chicago, and right away we rented an apartment in Lincolnwood. And since then, we are living here in Lincolnwood. So my kids, I have two kids. They were born here. They went to Todd Hall, Lincoln Hall, and finally they went to Niles West High School. My background is I'm PhD in botany. So I was a teacher, a professor in India, and then I migrated to America. Here we have a accounting firm. My husband is accountant. We have an office on Divan. So we do accounting and I do mortgages. I am also a realtor, but my main job is mortgages. So I do mortgages. So you can say the whole family is a family of finance. My both kids are accounting graduate. They have graduated from DePaul. And my daughter is CA, chartered accountant. She's almost done, like just a few months left. And my son is preparing for CA. So I've been in politics for many, many years. I was a president of FIA, like Federation of Indian Association. It's an association of Indian associations who not demonstrate, but they showcase Indian culture in America. So we celebrate Independence Day, we celebrate many other festivals of India in America, and basically on Devon Avenue and in Lincolnwood. So I am into politics for many, many years, and I'm into show business also. I do stage shows. I run a not-for-profit organization called Lighthouse Foundation. Under this foundation, I teach middle-aged ladies who doesn't know much about computers, because when we were young, the computers were not there. So these ladies, they don't understand, they don't know how to operate computers. So I teach them in the weekends, and with some of my friends, we all help and teach these ladies how to do basic things in computers. So adult education, and we also teach these ladies how to do accounting, not the very specific accounting, like how to write a check and how to withdraw money from the bank and how to understand the bank statement. So these are all not-for-profit thing I do for ladies, especially middle-aged, like 50 to 60 years of age. I love my village because I've been living here for almost 28 years. And during COVID season, I would say that was a bless, because people were at home and they were not going out. So I used to go like 4 evening time, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and I gather many people who are of the same interest, because I'm a PhD in botany. So my botany was my passion. So I have almost 37, 38 ladies who are interested in understanding how to grow plants, how to use their time, because they had such an extra time. So during COVID season, I made a lot of friends, and because of that, then I used to understand their small problems, like their garbage problems, their small insects, or sometimes they have problem with the neighbors. So I tried, okay, I know village of Lincolnwood so well. So I said, okay, let me see if I can help. So I started helping them. And because of that, people are saying to me, why don't you take some position in the village of Lincolnwood? So I said, I'm not into, like, I never thought about that. I'm into politics, but I never thought about that. But why not? So my friends, my neighbors, I live on Kenneth. So that side people, they say, okay, why don't you go there, go ahead and do it? So that's how I started. I know Jaisal, I know Berry Bass, but I was not very much involved in the village of Lincolnwood, but I would love to. And Berry Bass, I think he has nominated me as a chairman of Department of Aging. I love to work with
That's about time.
Department
So
of Aging
if you
with
could
old.
finish your thought.
I'm exceeding. I'm so sorry.
No, that's fine. You're just about up with time. If you could just finish that last thought.
Okay, thank you so much. I just want to get involved with Village of Lincolnwood. Thank you so much.
Okay, great. We're going to move now and talk about each of these three sets of issues. And Erica is going to start by asking some questions of the candidates about economics, the budget, development, and questions of that nature.
All right, well, I just want to say thank you again to the organizers of the forum. Additionally, I just want to thank Dan again as the co-moderator, the Lincolnwood community for coming out tonight, especially the ones who sent questions. And I also want to thank the candidates as well for making time for this. So as Dan mentioned, the first topic is economics, which based on the questions that we received from the community is a really important topic for Lincolnwood residents. There are items such as TIF districts. What should we TIF? What should Lincolnwood not? In addition is the future of development, commercial and industrial development in Lincolnwood. The one topic that came out a lot was the Purple Hotel. I understand that current trustees might not be able to talk beyond specific details. They might not be able to reveal more, but we respect anything that you could share. In addition is revenue streams, especially in a world post-COVID, is what will the community do to increase revenue streams? What will members of the government, local government do to increase those revenue streams? So the first set of questions were essentially based on what will you do to ensure that the Purple Hotel project goes forward? What's going on with the Purple Hotel site? It remains an eyesore. In addition, there are questions saying, is there some way that unused commercial space could be converted into a workspace for artists and other creative people? As a trustee or mayor, is this something you'd be interested in promoting? Other questions centered around the vision for Lincolnwood, an economic vision, and what should that vision be? And basically the other questions kind of centered around, do we plan to bring gaming into the community as a trustee or a mayoral candidate? And once again, what the long-term vision is for sites such as Lincolnwood Mall. So we'll start with mayoral candidate, Jaysal. If you want 2 minutes to sort of elaborate on one or many of those topics, that would be great.
That's quite a bit there. I didn't use all my 4 minutes at the beginning. Maybe I should ask if we could use some of it there.
To reserve some time, sorry.
Yeah, no problem at all. Really, I know the focus and what's really at the forefront for most people is the Purple Hotel. So I'll try to give us brief an update and then touch on the other items. So the Purple Hotel development, now dubbed District 1860, Tucker Development is the owner and developer of the property. The plan that came forward was a result of our planning efforts started back in 2016 that brought together a development showing mixed use, high density, multifamily, retail, and hotel. One of the retail components is going to be a grocery store. We have negotiated a sales tax agreement. Currently, the status is the project has been fully approved from the village standpoint. We have approved all of the incentive agreements. We have negotiated all of the contracts. And I believe that the developer has submitted their permit plans and had received back comments from the village. And at this point, we're waiting for them to finalize their plans, resubmit, and then hopefully they'll bring in the permit check, which should be in excess of $1 million of revenue for the village. So that's the update on the Purple Hotel. We have had to, District 1860. We have had to make some revisions over the last couple of years. I'm on the negotiating team and pretty much the lead for those negotiations. And thankfully, we were able to work with the other taxing bodies on the intergovernmental agreement, as well as with the developer on the redevelopment agreement in order to be able to move that forward. Should changes be required, we need to keep an open mind and work towards that finish line of having a complete cohesive development there. To that end, we need to have an open mind to new revenue sources within the village. We have a very heavy dependence on sales tax here in the village, which is excellent. That keeps the dependence off of our property taxes. But with that dependence on sales taxes, we are kind of out there if we don't bolster and diversify those sources. So right now, automobile dealerships and restaurants are a big portion of our sales tax. With the District 1860 and hotels coming on and a new hotel tax created back in 2009, that's another revenue source. And there are a multitude of other revenue sources available to us here in the state of Illinois and Cook County, in hospitality, in entertainment, and a variety of sources. And so And then just lastly, to touch on is new development opportunities. We are starting a revision to our use table that covers all of the uses that are allowed within our village and contemplated. And what I'm looking for is an expansion of those uses, certainly tolerable by the village, but that will allow us to diversify and strengthen our position of obtaining revenue through other sources than property taxes.
Great. Thank you so much. Really appreciate the answer. Jean?
Thank you. Following Jazel is always a hard act because he knows his facts and he gets them down, and he will set you straight on anything. So I will try to piggyback on some of the things he said. As I mentioned previously, a huge concern is the 1860 project. Obviously, because of COVID, everything has gotten delayed. And I know delay means, people get antsy, but things are moving along. We're trying our best. As Jazel mentioned, we've done everything we can do up to this point, and now it's back up to Tucker Development to bring this project forward. So we're keeping our fingers crossed, but as I said, I want a grocery store, and there is a plan for a grocery store there. And I really want that to happen, and we will try our best to get that for you, because the people in Lincolnwood deserve a nice project there. It's just been fallow for so long, and I pass there twice a day, every day. And once we get that moving, once they break ground, then I think everybody's going to feel a sigh of relief. So please, if everyone can just be a little bit more patient, because of COVID, we're just trying to get that to go along. You mentioned some other things, such as like revenue streams. And once again, because of COVID, within the next few months, we should see where all the pieces are starting to fall into place. We don't know how many businesses are really stable or if they're teetering on the edge. And the longer COVID drags out, the more businesses will either do well or they'll fail. And that's where the village has to step in. I mean, we have a lot of empty stores, and we have to do our best to attract different types of businesses to come in to boost our revenue. That's really important. And I think you mentioned gaming and different things. We are going to be taking a hard look at different things that are being proposed that want to come into Lincolnwood. Some of them will accept, some of them we won't. We can't make any promises either way, but we will take a hard look. And that's where you as the residents come in. We need to hear feedback from you as to what you really want and what you don't want to come into Lincolnwood. But once again, we don't want to be the village of no. We want to be the village of yes, and try to get as many interesting and exciting businesses into our neighborhoods. And, Lincoln Avenue, we'd like to fill. Tui, we'd like to fill. We see a lot of action going on in Skokie. We want to rival Skokie. Whether or not, we don't know how long that will take, but we do have some interesting areas. So if you as a resident know somebody who wants to come into Lincolnwood, tell us about it. We'd like to know. And once again, going back to the topic of customer service, if we have good customer service, that's going to lead business people to come here. If business people have a negative response from the people in Lincolnwood they deal with, then they're going to go away. They're going to go to Skokie. They're going to go to Evanston. They're going to go to Niles. We have to fight for all those people coming into Lincolnwood. We have to be more open. We have to show them that we are a good business partner and that they should come in and join our community. And that's going to be a big advantage to everybody, because, think about if you have a complaint.
If you could conclude, that would be great. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess I spoke a little too much, but our businesses depend on each of us. If we don't support our local businesses, then that's going to be a problem for each of us, because we're going to have to pay higher taxes, and nobody wants to pay higher taxes.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate your response. Grace?
Hi. So I am a realtor, but I specialize in residential real estate. So I'm not as familiar with the commercial side and the retail side, but the bottom line is businesses are our best bet to, getting our revenue stream, which is really sales tax, as Jaisal said. And I think it's very important to show that we are open to all types of businesses. I know that many businesses have passed us over because we have stricter rules and requirements. But I think that we need to be open and we need to fill our vacancies. And it's really important to try to make that happen. Maybe some businesses may not seem appropriate or may not seem that it would be a good fit. But, with everything changing, with COVID upon us, we have to be open and we have to at least consider all types of businesses. You talked about an art district and a work and art district, I believe. And, I don't think we've ever had anything like that here in Lincolnwood. Why wouldn't we help, consider it and see what they have to offer, but we should have always let them at least go through the process and the application for, to see what it can bring to Lincolnwood. The world is changing, the economy is changing. We have to be able to adapt to different types of businesses. Again, our sales tax, I believe I just learned this, that 26% of our sales tax is revenue for Lincolnwood. This helps Lincolnwood. It helps our residents. It makes, it becomes a place where people want to come and spend their money in Lincolnwood, not just us residents. But yes, our residents especially would like to shop locally, socialize locally. And, if we can bring some sort of an art district, well, that would be great. It brings, another aspect of Lincolnwood that we really haven't had before. I know they both spoke briefly, or maybe actually not briefly, but I will speak briefly on the Purple Hotel. I don't know as much since I'm not a current trustee, but I do understand that the plan has been approved and that, our current trustees and mayors has already done everything they can do. So it is out of their hands. And yes, COVID has not only delayed construction for commercial space, but also for residential developments as well. When it has come to material, there's been a shortage of material for the last year, and also staffing a lot of these projects. But I am open to redevelopment. We've talked, or, I know people have asked about a central downtown area. I'm open to that, whether it's over in the 1860 district or whether whether it's in another area. They have had plans that they have talked about, concept plans in different parts of Lincolnwood. And I would be very open to, exploring that because again, it brings businesses, it brings more retail and commercial, and that is going to help Lincolnwood as a whole.
Thank you so much. Celine?
Thank you. The three of them, they took all the thunder away from me. So they covered pretty much everything. But I wanna touch base on a few things here also. Yes, 1860, it's kind of said and done. We are waiting for the developer to come back with the comments, response to the comments, and start get going on the building process. Besides that, I believe there are two other projects that we can look at, the Lincolnwood Mall area, how to revitalize that, how to improve that, especially in post-COVID era. We're going to get hit big time. We have to have an open mind, just like Jean said. We have to be saying yes to a lot of the things, at the same time evaluating those yeses on its own merits, with full transparency, and figure out what's best for us and how to improve the revenue base coming out of that. The third thing, I go by project because I'm an engineer. I'm looking at a project. It's a project for me. Okay, the Lincolnwood Mall is a big project. After 1860, Lincolnwood Mall area should be the high priority for us because it's already there. There's no zoning requirements. We just have to look at the uses, what's available. There is a study also done, so we have to look at all those things and figure out what's the best way to revitalize the mall area. The third project, in my eyes, is the downtown district. Which to me is is what's central to Lincolnwood. That is Lincoln Avenue, Toohey, and Crawford. That area. How do we improve that intersection? How do we make that a more robust or more revenue generating also area? There's a lot of properties around Lincoln Avenue. I feel like not fully utilized. There has to be a way for us to get them going and bring them up with the help of grants, tips, whatever ways we can do. Evaluate those options for us for future. Like Jason said, we are looking at, or the village is looking at the uses for the different areas. I'm open to those uses. I am open for discussion. We should evaluate every use and potential, good and bad for us, for the residents of this great village. So yeah, those are the three areas those are my biggest thing. And of course, marijuana, gambling, all those things will come under those uses. They all should be evaluated. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Sanita?
Sanita,
I think you're muted.
You're still muted.
To unmute myself.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay.
I didn't start the timer.
My first concern is Purple Hotel, because I live across the street from this Purple Hotel, and I'm seeing this vacant land for almost, I think it's 5 years. And Purple Hotel, in this whole Lincolnwood, we had only one hotel. And hotel is always a place of that generate lot of revenue. I know because of the COVID, this hospitality sector has gone little down, but still, because Lincolnwood is like a heart of city, and we definitely need an hotel. So, and that area is such a big area. We have a huge place. We can build a beautiful, wonderful Radisson or Holiday Inn or anything, any brand. I'm not saying any particular brand, but we should definitely need an 5-star hotel there that will bring revenue, that will bring people, and Lincolnwood will be like, again, wonderful and beautiful again. Grocery store, I'm not very fond of grocery store, but definitely hospitality, because I own 3-4 hotels, and I know still, in spite of this COVID, hospitality sector has come back. And it's like a huge place, and there is nothing going on. Every time we are listening, okay, something is coming up, or the apartment building is coming up. I'm definitely not in the favor of having this apartment building. It will be very crowded, and that will not bring a lot of revenue. There are second thing is like in Lincolnwood Mall. Lincolnwood Mall is like a very specific type of thing, and then we have to approach different big brands so they can open, because again, a lot of emptiness is there, a lot of vacant property is there. So we should all work together to bring more people, bring diversity in that, because that's a mall which is catering this Rogers Park area, Lincolnwood, Niles, and Des Plaines, all this area. And there are many vacancies also. In the COVID time, I have a suggestion. I don't know about Village of Lincolnwood, what they have done. Other cities, what they have done is they have supported businesses, because businesses were dying. They were struggling, retail stores or the restaurants. So many cities, they have supported their businesses by giving them additional business, like suppose restaurant businesses. So they have say, okay, for 5 days you give food to police, or you give food to fire station. So in that way those people, those restaurants, they have enough money to sustain themselves. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. We'll now transition over back to Dan, and Dan will discuss COVID-19 and the future of Lincolnwood with this regard.
I can imagine that everyone in the audience and most everyone on the planet has struggled quite a bit with COVID over the last year. It's been on all of our minds. And a number of the questions that folks sent in before this forum were about COVID. The majority of the questions were about vaccination and about whether you'll have ideas for how the village can support the vaccination process, essentially to make it more transparent, more fair, and especially well organized. And there were a number of other questions about what the village could do as the COVID crisis is winding down to support the community as we're emerging out of it. So part of the question is also about your vision to exit the community from the COVID crisis. Jason, we'll start with you.
Thank you. Relative to the COVID vaccine rollout, as some may or may not know, we, as a village of Lincolnwood, don't have a health department. We don't have direct access to the COVID vaccine. That doesn't mean that we can't help try to connect people with the vaccine. All of the information that we have collected, the different sources with which people can sign up and get their appointments to get the vaccinations. We have been regularly updating our website, as well as pushing out information through social media, even on paper, to our senior communities that populate our condo buildings, as well as the senior living facilities, Lincolnwood Place and the Carrington. We're delivering on paper, as some of them might not be using electronic devices or the internet to access that information. So we're doing everything we can to push out. What I have looked at as we go forward is what we can do to prepare for another event like this. And hopefully we don't have another pandemic anytime soon, but for us to team up with another local health department, Skokie being our neighbor and Evanston also being our neighbor, both of those have health departments. I couldn't find really health departments anywhere else on the North Shore. So it's not as though we're in the minority not having one, but it has exposed an opportunity or a shortfall that we have that we can look to fill. As far as what we can do on the business side, we have been very proactive as a village. The Alliance members of the board have been very thoughtful about what we can do to allow businesses to continue to operate during COVID with the shutdowns and the minimized occupancy, allowing for tents and other ways to bring customers in, relaxing our parking regulations. And we're going to be looking at more permanent ways to adjust our code as we go forward and move out of COVID and hopefully back into some measure of prosperity.
Thank you. Jean, would you care to share your thoughts about how to navigate out of the COVID crisis for up to 2 minutes?
Okay, thank you very much. COVID has been such a horrible situation. It's something that was predicted for many years, but everybody hoped that it wouldn't come to pass. And unfortunately it has. In our small village, we've lost 52 people. And when you have less than 13,000 people, 52 is a huge number. Part of what we've been doing is asking people, obviously, to social distance and wear masks. And to some extent, that's helped. And we still need, because we're not out of it, we still need people to remember that they have to do that. And they're not only protecting themselves, they're protecting everybody else. And as we go down, as the months tick off, we're going to get closer to herd immunity, and we'll be able to be, more open in the way we were. But until then, we really have to ask people to still participate and wear masks. And one of the things we've been talking about is, because only the nearby neighbors of Skokie and Evanston have health departments and we don't, we're at a distinct disadvantage. And one thought would be partnering up with other municipalities to have some kind of health organization or grouping, so that we could all get vaccines or other health things that we need, and not have to depend on when things are available, because we don't have a health department. Right now, Trustee Atur Sargon has been the point person, and she's been very helpful in trying to get vaccines and shots for our whole village. It's been a daunting task, because a lot of things have been disorganized. Things could have been handled a lot better, obviously, through the government, but they weren't. So although it seems like we're struggling, things are falling into place. It's just taking a lot longer than we had hoped. I would like to see, because I hear a lot of seniors, they're saying, well, if I don't live in a big condo, if I'm just by myself, or, you know, my neighbor down the street just lives alone, or there's a couple, I would like to see some kind of registry that people could go to, that we could create, so that we know, you know, if John down the street needs a COVID shot, he doesn't feel left out, and he doesn't have to hustle and try to, you know, spend 24 hours a day, 7 days a week trying to get a vaccination. That's just like a waste of your time and effort, and it's just stressful for everyone. So I would like to see something more streamlined, so that everybody could participate if they want to, and then we'll be a little bit more organized in that respect. Not having a health department has shown to be a big problem. And, you know, we've tried to partner up with Skokie, but they have their own hands full. But maybe because of this experience in the future, we might be able to, you know, talk to Skokie about what we could do better in the future and get some kind of help. And, you know, I do want to say I have a lot of sympathy, and I want to express my condolences to anybody who has lost somebody in Lincolnwood because of COVID-19. You know, over a year ago, nobody expected us to still be in this situation. The more people who get shots, the better, obviously. And I know we're coming close, but folks, please hang on. I know people are taking chances. They want to go out and do a lot of things. Things are going to be opening up. They're going to be opening up maybe slower than you had anticipated. But, you know, I don't want to see the numbers of deaths in Lincolnwood rise. And I don't think anybody else does. We care about what happens to all our residents. So please just hang on a little bit longer. You'll get your shot. Everybody will get vaccinated, hopefully by this summer. And then we could proceed with our lives from then. Thank you.
Thank you, Jean. Grace, would you care to speak about the emerging from COVID?
Sure. Personally, COVID has actually hit my family pretty hard late last year. And we struggled with finding testing sites, and now we were struggling to find vaccination signups for my mother. My mother is a senior here that lives in Lincolnwood. And I was one of those people. I was trying to get on midnight, 2 in the morning, 5 in the morning. I was just trying to see where I could register her. And I got lucky, and it wasn't through any of those signups. It was just almost being at the right place at the right time, and you know, a random person being able to take care of that for my mom. So I do know the frustration, and we do have a huge senior population here in Lincolnwood, and it's great so far when it comes to those that live, like Jean said, in the condo buildings or at the Carrington or at Lincolnwood Place. But we have many of our older population still living in the houses that they bought, you know, 30 years ago, 40 years ago. And I think that they should be a priority. And as for, you know, signing up and registrations, you know, we would need to have a definite plan to make sure that people are prioritized. I know my neighbors here were very proactive in reaching out as well to Trustee Sargon and to the fire chief. And there is something, you know, that's in the works, and I believe it is going to come, but it takes time. All of this has taken time. We're almost exactly a year in from shelter in place on this date. I do feel that, you know, the health departments in Skokie and Evanston clearly helped them get their vaccinations faster and a little bit more organized. And I know Lincolnwood is much smaller. And if, you know, as for a health department here, it may not be viable because we're so small. Maybe we partner up with Skokie, or maybe with another surrounding community around us that does not have a health department, and partner up with them. And who knows, you know, like I said, I was here in the 70s, and I had a fire at my house. And actually in the 80s, and we didn't have a fire department. So Skokie came and Chicago came. But we didn't have a fire department, but now we do. So you never know. Maybe we just have a smaller health department, scaled to Lincolnwood. But in the end, COVID is still here. We're all going through it. I know we will get through it, but post-COVID will be here for a few years, and planning is just really important. I am on the Parks and Recreation Board. Last year, our pools and camps were hit hard where we weren't able to open, but they've been planning since then, since before summer even started. And I'll tell you, I'm happy to say our pools and our camps are going to open. Of course, we have to be flexible and adaptable because anything can change. Hopefully more restrictions get lifted. Our capacity restrictions also get lifted. And, I know that our Parks and Rec Board and our employees and director, they're willing to adapt as well as the summer goes on. As things get lifted, so will pool restrictions, so will camp restrictions, which is great. And I think for our village as well, we'll have to come up with a plan that will stay flexible and can adapt to the changes in the post-COVID.
That's about time, Grace, if you
especially
could
as it
wrap up your thoughts.
affects our financial needs of our businesses and our residents.
Thank you, Grace.
Thank you.
Salim, you have 2 minutes on the COVID issue.
Thank you. All right, this is a very tough one. Everyone in the world is affected by COVID. We all are going through this thing right now. As far as the vaccine rollout, we know for the last 12 months, it's going to come. It's going to come. It's coming tomorrow. It's coming tomorrow. With that in mind, we should have prepared much better. I am really frustrated with the way the preparation has been done, not only locally, but throughout. So the best way for us to reach out to our residents is our website right now. We should improve our website to better communicate with residents about the vaccine rollout, where and what and when it's available. I understand we don't have a health department, but we do have a website. We can help them out through that website. And I know we are doing that, but we can do a better job with that. So that's all I can say about with respect to vaccine and the rollout and post-COVID, how to help businesses. We have to sit down as soon as possible. If we assume that we are going through a post-COVID season right now, or beginning of that end of COVID season, then we have to sit down and start figuring out how to get the businesses back in order. Come up with some incentives programs, some concessions or whatever that we can do to help those businesses get back into full swing.
Thank you, Salim. And Eric will now take the candidates through issues relating to village community relations.
Thanks, Dan. So the last part of this forum focuses on, as Dan said, the relationship between those that are elected to office in Lincolnwood and the community members. A lot of the questions centered around a few things that I wanted to highlight. I'm not going to bombard you with the questions, but here's some kind of words that I wanted you to think about, and some more sort of ideas that maybe the community would like you to carry forward if you do get elected. First is engagement. The sentiment that was kind of received in the questions was certain groups of Lincolnwood residents feel that they are not involved in the decision-making process. And what would you do if elected to increase engagement overall in the Lincolnwood community? In addition, there was some comments about diversity and inclusion. And what would you do if elected to increase diversity, for instance, the police department and the fire department and other jobs within the Lincolnwood Village Hall? Additionally is community service. If you have qualifications in community service and your service to Lincolnwood, if it's not already been said, what would you bring in your background that would make you a servant leader to the community of Lincolnwood? In addition is a mission statement. do you have any ideas about a mission statement that Lincolnwood residents could embrace as well as the elected candidates? And last but not least is potentially a welcome to new residents and an explanation of parking laws, recycling, and other types of way to not only increase engagement, but also make new members of the Lincolnwood community feel more welcome. We'll start with Jaisal.
There's a lot, quite diverse. So let me go back to the beginning. It was, did you say communications with the village board?
Correct. Yes. The questions we got was when members reach out to the village, they feel that sometimes their questions go unanswered.
So I think this refers to at the village board meeting setting. I've heard comments regarding residents coming to the podium during public forum and asking a question or raising an issue and not getting a response or an answer. Sometimes people just come to make a statement, which doesn't warrant an answer or response other than a thank you for sharing. But often an answer is sought from the one raising the question. As a mayor, I can say that it would be my responsibility to make sure that an answer is given, perhaps not on the spot if information needs to be collected, but not to leave a question unanswered or not to let them know that we will be giving an answer down the road, whether it be from the board or from staff. Creating a welcoming atmosphere is the very first step, and that goes back to the service first organization. You know, first and foremost, we need to set the example. A mayor needs to set an example, the village board, and the way we work with each other, the way we work with the management level staff, and that filters down through to every single interaction, even the, you know, whether it be the public works staff taking care of their jobs in the public way in front of people's homes or in the parks or our police department. And so it does start from the top, and giving an answer is certainly something that we should be able to do. As far as diversity, if you look here on our screen, the Alliance Party, really the whole village, diversity is what Lincolnwood is founded on. I was looking at a class picture of mine from 1984, back when I was in third grade. And it's amazing the diversity that Lincolnwood had there, you know, from Jewish and Greek and Filipino and Korean and Indian classmates and everything in between, whether it be the former Yugoslavian and Russian and everything. And that continues to this day. I love the diversity in Lincolnwood. I think that's one of the reasons my parents chose to come here back in 1979, is that they, you know, someplace that they could feel welcome, that there were people like them around. I do want to encourage diversity in our hiring practices. I do caution, I always want to go with the best candidate, certainly, but there's no reason to say that the best candidates can't come from diverse backgrounds. I do believe that our police department is quite diverse, with a mix of nationalities, and certainly a number of new women have been hired as police officers as well, and that's a fantastic thing to see. And we're starting to have some turnover in our fire department as well, and I think we have some diversity growing there as well. And so while it's not necessarily something we need to push for, we need to be welcoming and open, but still always my goal would be to always have the best candidates available. And I think that when everything shakes out, it will end up being diverse, because that's the nature of our country at this point. I think that covers two of them. I don't want to take too long, so we'll let somebody else go. But thank you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Jean, your thoughts on engagement and diversity in the Lincolnwood community?
Thank you. Obviously, Lincolnwood has an incredibly diverse community. If you grow up in Lincolnwood, you have met and probably be friends with people from all over the world, you know, whose families came from all over the world. And this is, we take it for granted a lot of times, but this is very special, because when my daughter, who went to Niles West, went to college, almost everybody there was white and male, because she went to an engineering school. And I told her, you're not going to find the same kind of diversity as you have in Lincolnwood in a lot of different places you go to in the future. And she understood that, but I still think it was kind of a shock, because she was so used to being with so many different people. And the same thing with my son. I do want to see more diversity in terms of people volunteering for our commissions and our ad hoc committees. We have some minorities, but we don't have enough. And I think part of the problem is a lot of the people who might want to do these things are immigrants, and they're working so hard at their jobs that they don't have the extra time. But I'd like to put it into the backs of their minds. Yeah, we want you. We want your opinions. We value your opinions. And going back to what Jaisal was saying about service, our community should, well, we should be a reflection of what the board is in terms of how we treat each other. On the board level, we set the standard. We have to show that we're open, we have to show that we're respectful, and we have to show that we value every member of the community. And I think if we show that, then we're going to get more people to be interested and want to volunteer. As for diversity on the police and fire department, yes, I think we could have more minorities coming in to different jobs. I would love to see that. But I also think that, once again, it's a perception thing. If people think that the suburbs are usually pretty white, and as a minority, they have a hesitation about going into it, we need to promote the fact that we are such a diverse community, and we want police and fire department members who reflect that. And I think that's a big selling point for us. As for getting people involved, in terms of engagement, I encourage everybody who's watching today to watch some of our board meetings. You don't have to come to every board meeting, but watch it every once in a while. See what we're doing, see what we're talking to. We post what the agenda is going to be, and you might just want to take a look at it and see if there's a topic that interests you. When COVID dies down, we're obviously allowing more people to come to Village Hall to sit in person and listen to these meetings. But we want you to be informed, and the only way you're going to be able to be informed is if you actually watch what we do. A lot of people say, well, I didn't know about that. But if we talked about it at 3 board meetings, we need you to follow these things and to be more engaged with us. We want to hear your opinions, and if you want to write us a letter, we will certainly like to answer it. We want to include you. We want as many people involved in village government. They always say it takes a village. Well, yeah, it does. In order to be a good village, in order to be a great village, all of our residents, you have to participate and you have to know what's going on. And I certainly encourage that, because I think it's healthy for not only the board to understand and respect the opinions of our residents, but I also think it's important for our residents to understand what we're discussing and what we want to see happen in the village. So please come to our meetings, be engaged, participate. That's the American way. That's the best way to have good local government. And it starts with your going out and voting. It starts with you understanding and just watching what's going on. You have to be the eyes and ears of the village. So I would always encourage that, and I hope you'll take me up on it. And if you ever want to talk to me or any of the other trustees, we're there for you. We're not sitting on a high platform, looking down at you.
That's about time.
We are you. So please join us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Grace?
Hi. So, growing up again from an immigrant mother, I feel for a lot of our families here in Lincolnwood, as many, of us, it's so diverse. And I know that, it just wasn't like our place to step up and speak out. And we were used to just following rules. I know my mother never argued about anything or complained, and she just did what she was supposed to do. So a lot of, minorities, I feel, just are used to not really stepping up. And I feel it's very important for our board to represent that here in Lincolnwood. It also makes our other residents feel comfortable about giving their feedback and speaking up. So I do think that that's important. And as for feedback and welcoming people to come and speak out, I think most of us, I think, that are involved with the commissions and the boards here in Lincolnwood, We know that feedback is very important, and what our residents have to say is very important, because our end goal is really just to keep improving. And the only way we can improve is if we listen to our residents and listen to their concerns. You know, like I said, I serve on, I'm in my second term with Parks and Rec, and we don't always agree. But in the end, we have to think of not our own needs and concerns, but for the residents, you know, as a whole. That's why we're together, to make those decisions and find solutions. So I welcome any feedback. I think it's very important. I know many of our department heads at the village, our police chief, our Parks and Rec director, they will always welcome and take you know, and offer to have conversations personally, directly, over the phone, email, because they do want to make Lincolnwood better and improve what their jobs, because that's really what it's supposed to be about. I know you also talked about community service. You know, within Lincolnwood, I've just tried to volunteer. Of course, a lot of it is, you know, just my own personal desire to be involved and active. But I think that's really important, to have that genuine desire to want to help people and want to have programs succeed, and you know, just our amenities grow. It's really where our community can get together and socialize. And that's when we get to see everyone together and really meet people. As Jean said, we have really a unique community here. You don't see this a lot in other communities. Even, you know, with all the different demographics of our aging seniors now being a big part of our population. And as our population keeps diversifying, we have to continue to really, you know, adapt to their needs, because it's going to change, and it will continue to change as demographics change and as we diversify more through the years. Lincolnwood has definitely changed through the years. And, you know, yes, a lot of things have succeeded. We've had old concepts that have stayed to help preserve and protect Lincolnwood residents and businesses. But, you know, there's always changing needs and concerns. As for a welcoming package or for new residents, I think that's very important. Residents included that have lived here a long time don't know a lot of the rules here. And so there's a lot of rules and policies, and they can be really simple, to, you know, garbage and recycling and environmental issues that have changed through the years. So it's really good, as Salim said, to have a website that really keeps you updated. And as a realtor and
If
bringing
you could
in,
conclude, that would be great.
sure, prospective buyers, they want to also be able to know what our rules and regulations are, especially if they're looking to move into Lincolnwood. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I just quickly wanted to address that the candidate Senhita actually had to leave, and she messaged Dan and I before the last question Dan asked. So that's why Dan nor I asked her the question. So I just wanted for all the attendees and the panelists to know that's why she was not asked a question now or in Dan's prior questioning. Thank you. Salim, for the concluding remarks of the night.
Thank you. We want our village leaders and public servants to mirror the diversity of the village residents. You know, that's very important. Residents are not aware what goes on in their village, and there needs to be a push for engagement. We have to do a push for engagement. You know, I come from an Indian background, so I bring some diversity to the group here. And as you can see, the Lincolnwood, the slate we have here, we are of a very diverse nature and come from diverse backgrounds. So that's good. That's good. It should help and encourage other village residents to engage with us, because you know, there's a lot of Indians in the community. There's a lot of other communities also. So I hope this helps them come out and get themselves engaged in public service moving forward. As you know that, as Grace mentioned, that I want to make sure I want to I would like to push for a good website to improve communication between the village as well as the residents. In especially post-COVID era, a good communication tool is a website nowadays. I will go one step further, maybe an app that will be put on every, if people choose to, they can download the app that can provide more engagement from the resident to the village. That can be pushed out. You look at the Starbucks app. You give an order from anywhere in the world. By the time you reach the Starbucks, your order is ready. I mean, everybody's doing that. The businesses are doing that. Why not? Why can't we do that? I mean, that's a way to engage our residents, and that can help with the garbage. That can help with the snow. That can help with any kind of emergencies. That can help with the vaccine rollout. That can help with. It has its own benefits. I think I'm hoping as my first job as soon as I get elected would be to work on that. That improve that communication tool. That let it be a website or go one step further. Develop an app to take care of that. I hope I answered your question. I don't know, there was so many pieces to that, but that would be my closing answer or last answer.
Thank you so much. And thank you all again for your thoughtful replies. And we will see in terms of the election, and I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing the future of Lincolnwood in great hands. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to send it back to Dan for some concluding remarks. And I also want to thank all the attendees once again for making time tonight to come out and engage in such an important civic duty for all of us.
I'll just wrap it up by saying thanks to the audience for taking an hour out of their busy day to come watch. And thanks so much for all of the thoughtful comments from the candidates. Best of luck in the election. And thanks again. It was a pleasure to help do this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dan and Eric.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
No problem.
everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good night.